Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, for I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. This is one of the important theme of the gospel for today's Sunday, the 14th Sunday in ordinary time. Usually we use this reading for the funeral mass na ipatay, the first reading from the book of the prophet Zechariah is also a reading especially during Palm Sunday. So the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem was prophesied already in the Old Testament by the prophet Zechariah. So meekness and humility of heart, that is the central theme of our readings for this week. So Jesus is no stranger to the futility sometimes of our work or our failures. Sometimes we work so hard and yet we encounter failures, or our labor is fruitless. There is nothing that seems to be happening in spite of everything that we have done. We give our best, we work hard, we do overtime, and yet still we encounter failures, or there's nothing fruitful that is the fruit of our hard labor. That is why Jesus taught us these virtues of meekness and humility. To be meek is to choose to be peaceful and serene in whatever circumstances of life we encounter, whether there is failure or success, whether there is difficulty, or where things seems to be easy for us. We should learn to be meek. And it is a choice that we make. We choose to be peaceful. We choose to be serene in whatever circumstances of our life, even though life is difficult, even though there may be a lot of problems and failures that we have not overcome. We can choose to be meek. That is why Jesus taught us to learn from Him, to be meek. And humility is to believe that God knows what is best for us. God is in control of what is happening in the world. So you have to trust and believe in God. It is an invitation to surrender to the power of the Lord. When we have done everything and yet still we fail, so we have to surrender to the power of the Lord. You have to learn from Him, and that is knowledge and wisdom. The wisdom that Jesus said He has hidden from the wise and the learned. That we have to learn to trust our Father, who knows what is best, who is in control of the history of the world. Even though sometimes we may think that nothing is happening, there is a lot of evil in the world, and yet we have to trust in the power of God. We continue to follow and to obey His will, to continue to take the yoke of God. So yoke is obedience, the obedience of Jesus to the will of the Father. That is why the yoke is not taken away from us. So life is still difficult, life is still burdensome, and maybe laborious for us. And yet, it becomes lighter when we see it as an opportunity to love. opportunity to love God and to love other people. No? So it becomes an easy burden to carry. No? So mahimong gaan ang atong palasanon when we do it as a labor of love. No? And that is why at the beginning of the gospel, at that time, Jesus exclaimed, no? Because Jesus himself also encountered, no, this experience of failure, no, and being fruitless in spite of everything that he has done. He was referring here to the previous passage of the gospel, no? The one preceding this gospel we read this Sunday, no? Wherein there are many towns that Jesus performed many miracles, and yet people persisted in their unbelief. It did not bring them to believe in Jesus. No? So even though the miracles are already revealed to them, no? By healing of the sick, the raising of the dead to life, no? The feeding of the multitude of people. No? All these miracles that have been witnessed by people did not lead them to believe in Jesus. No? Instead, it hardened their hearts, no? In their unbelief, in their opposition, no? And in their not accepting Jesus as the Messiah and Lord. No? So nagmagahi ang ilang kasing-kasing bisan pa man sa mga milagro na iyang gibuhat na nakita sa mga tao. No? And this way Jesus taught us to have peace, no? To be meek, to learn from Him, to be meek and to be humble. That in spite of all the failures, in spite of all the hard labor, and yet we still fail. No? It is an invitation to surrender to the power of God. No? It is an invitation not to rely on our own strength and our own wisdom, but to trust the Lord. No? To trust that everything happens in God's time, no? Through the power of the Holy Spirit. As what the second reading of the letter of St. Paul to the Romans would remind us, that we invite the Spirit to dwell in us, the Spirit of being meek and humble of heart, to be like Jesus. No? Not to be so much disturbed by the evil, no? Or maybe by the seeming fruitless labor of our hard work. No? So we continue to obey the will of God. We continue to labor we continue to do the work of Jesus, no? The salvation of the world. We continue to proclaim the gospel and to perform good deeds to other people. And we do it as a labor of love, our love for God, our love for one another as children of the light, as children of God.